This is an exam question on animal transport, more specifically about the heart. And it says, describe how the action of the heart is initiated and coordinated. So how does it initiated? How's the action of the heart started? And how is it coordinated so that the atriums are contracting first, followed by the ventricles, followed by relaxation of both atrium and ventricle. So the heart, the action of the heart is initiated by a small group of cells that we call the pacemaker, or you can say SAN, or sinoatrial node. And that starts or initiates the electrical impulse. You can say excitation. You can say action potential. You can't say electricity or signal or message. Okay, so that's the pacemaker, which is found in the right atrium, starts or initiates the electrical impulse excitation. That wave of excitation spreads over the atrial walls. So that spreads over atrial walls or muscle. You've got to say walls or muscle. You can't just say atria on its own. That causes the atria to contract. And that's coordinated. Both atria, the left and right atria, will contract at the same time. The electrical impulse then moves to the AVN, atrioventricular node, which is found between the atriums and the ventricles, and that causes a delay. And that delay is important because it allows the ventricles to contract, the atriums to contract before the ventricles. You want the blood to be pumped into the ventricles before the ventricles contract. The wave of excitation, or the electrical impulse, or the action potential then spreads down the septum. The septum is the part that separates the left-hand side of the heart with the right-hand side of the heart. And the nerve that spreads down is called the bundle of His or Purkinje fibers. And that causes the ventricles to contract. And the ventricles contract from the apex, the bottom of the heart, upwards. And that causes the ventricles to push the blood up and out of the heart. When you're talking about the atrial contracture, you can say atrial systole. And when the ventricles are contracting, you can say ventricle. system. And that explains the action of the heart, how the action of the heart is both initiated and coordinated.